How's it going, everyone? It is me, Chloe Phoenix, back. Phoenix Fire Presents, as my YouTube channel is called. No big deal, whatever. Anyway, so I feel like it's been forever since I've done a video here, but you know what? Fuck it. I like y'all. We're doing something new. This is something also a bit different. Typically, I've made videos of me going over stuff, and I still want. That's still going to be the intent and purpose of this today, but. Something really interesting happened yesterday, and that is online high school commencements. Now, obviously, with everything going on, you can't really have a couple thousand people in a building. So, next best thing is to still give these kids a graduation, let them have it online. I still have all the speakers and all that fun stuff, cool, awesome. Super big event for a lot of kids, because this is unfortunately, for a number of children, or I should say, not even children, adults, for a number of people, this is the only time they're going to graduate. A lot of them aren't, I shouldn't say a lot, but some of them aren't going to go on to college. Some of them might not go into trade school or anything like that. So it's a big deal, and I'm not trying to downplay that at all. So obviously, schools and districts and everything like that they're all doing the best they can, and they come up with a solution. I actually really like it. But why am I talking about it? There is obviously a reason. So this is a high school in Nebraska, where I'm from. I'm sorry, I know, I live in Nebraska. It's pretty awful. God, I just feel like I outed myself or something. I should feel shame. Any rate, though, who got the got Ben Sass. He's a United States Senator from Nebraska. And he was elected in 2015, so he's been there for a few years. His big claim to fame was for basically 2015, 2016, 2017. He was super hardcore anti-Trump, and like he was very vocal about that, and has kind of since changed his tune. So. Yeah, obviously not really a good thing. He's kind of bought hook, line, and sinker into the Republican Party, though he just beat a Republican loyalist. I'm sorry, Ben Sass is still Trump's cock sleeve, but whatever. So he went and he was their special graduation speaker, which, would be kind of cool. Yeah, United States Senator gets to talk at my graduation. Except for he's kind of a little piece of shit. And I've actually always felt that way about Ben Sass, but holy shit. Yeah. So, what I'm going to do is something a bit different. Is I'm going to play the video for you, and I'm going to stop it intermittently at points and times that I think it's important to point out and talk about things. And just kind of go point by point with this. I've seen this, but I really don't have anything written down. I mean, I know, sorry about my background, I'm moving, but there's a bunch of shit going on, so I figured, hey, you know what, fuck it, I can still do videos. So let's do some videos. So, without further ado, let's listen to some horse shit.
To begin the celebration, I would like to introduce a special speaker.
Okay, sorry. I know I said I was going to run, but God, can you think of a worse speaker? Like, of all the people I get, fucking Ben Sass, Jesus. That's what my mind keeps going back to, like, oh my God. All right, sorry.
1990 Fremont High School graduate and United States Senator Ben Sass.
Congratulations, graduates. This is a big moment. Not on graduating high school, but on making the journey down the stairs from your bedroom to the living room and putting on something slightly more formal than sweatpants.
The edge. Like, okay, so he fucking starts us off like he's a comedian, and I would actually say that's probably not a bad thing to do, but you don't have any sort of interpersonal connections with these people, and let's be honest, Ben, you're not putting on pants in the morning either. You couldn't even do your tie. Fuck, where's your jacket? Oh my God, you don't have room to talk. He's obviously hasn't shaved in, for him, weeks. But, like, it's an achievement to put on pants and walk downstairs. You know what? Fuck you. Yeah, for some people that is an achievement. Like, believe me, I've been to the point where getting out of bed's a goddamn achievement. Shut the fuck up.
Your grandparents are proud of you. We're all proud of you. It took a lot of effort. We want to recognize your sacrifice.
Oh my God, your sacrifice of putting on pants. Are you fucking kidding me? You're literally just making fun of these kids that you don't even know.
Congratulations, parents, teachers, and coaches. Not that there's really any meaningful distinction.
Not that there's any meaningful distinction. Like, okay, so this is a fucking dog whistle to say teachers aren't necessary and we should just all be homeschooling anyway. It's fucking bullshit. I'm sorry, but like teachers are still doing their job. Coaches are still doing their jobs. I mean, coaches is a bit more difficult, but it's not like they're still not putting out, oh god, what are they? Exercise plans and nutrition plans and being like, hey, make sure you're, adhering to this kind of stuff. And yeah, some parents have stepped in to do homeschooling, but not all parents have. And a lot of teachers are still doing that job.
Among those categories anymore at this point. If you're a parent, you're a teacher. Thanks a lot, China.
Oh my god, the fucking China dog whistle. So, it's like I said, this is something I knew that was coming up, but yeah, this is all China's fault. You're right. It's all China's fault that we completely underreacted and underprepared. Also, Ben Sasses on the Senate Intelligence Agency, he knew about this shit and stayed quiet. Yeah, back in January.
We're all teachers now, and let's be honest.
If we're all teachers now, please retire, Ben Sass. No one wants to learn anything from you.
At the start of this, most parents thought we would be visionary math teachers changing the world. But after about 2 weeks,
the only visionary math Ben Sass can do is pull up the goddamn calculator on the computer.
We all just decided to default into gym teachers.
Because gym teachers aren't real teachers. Fucking knee slapper.
I'm kidding. My dad was a gym teacher.
So why are you making fun of him, Ben?
I'm serious. He used to teach English and social studies, but he always aspired to get to gym so he didn't have to put on formal clothes.
I mean, okay, I can't fault him for that. Let's be honest. I haven't been wearing real pants these past 2 months. Sorry.
Every day, and he could wear the same sort of sweats that most of you are wearing from the bottom half down anyway.
Oh my god, you're wearing sweatpants underneath the graduation clothes when you're from home. It's so scandalous. I'm sorry, class of 2020, you have to put up with this bullshit. Because you are not getting to graduate like everyone else does. I get to have graduation parties, see all of your friends off. I apologize for Ben Sass's dumbassery.
But anyway, I know, Dad, gym is important if you're watching, Dad, as if he's watching.
Part of me wishes his dad was watching just to see him, like, just to get a reaction out of what the fuck Ben Sass is even fucking thinking here.
My children aren't at his house, and like all grandparents, there's no chance he can get Zoom to work without...
Grandparents are dumb. Durr. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. Fuck off. Zoom's easy. Just click the link, open it up. Grandparents can figure that shit out.
My children there to do it for them. Graduates. Adults don't tell you this, but once or twice a week in real world life, someone's gonna ask you to climb a giant rope. No reason, just climb the rope. Sure,
because gym class is fucking useless. Or so Ben says, but I'm sorry, gym class is supposed to teach you physical fitness and lifelong habits of taking care of yourself. And that's really what gym class is supposed to teach. Teach you about different things that you can do that you might find passions in. Hell, we played Ultimate Frisbee when I was in high school, and there's a lot of people who, after that, started playing pretty recreationally with that. So, yeah, it's all fucking worthless, Ben.
Every now and then the rope is a metaphor, but honestly, most of the time, it's just a big rope. And
Also, a big reason, from my understanding of why they made you do that rope, was because that's a part of the military training, and with the draft and everything, they wanted to make sure people that were drafting were able to have the physical strength to pass through basic training instead of just flunking out. Because we had the whole Vietnam War, and of course we have to draft everyone because people don't want to, But yes, you're absolutely right. It doesn't matter. Even though it was a cultural sign of our time, and I'm glad it was gotten rid of because we kind of figured, hey, we don't really need that because we don't need to draft people.
You have to climb it. If you don't get that joke, talk to your mom and dad back in the day when we were a lot fitter than you people.
Oh my God, we were a lot fitter than you. We didn't have cell phones to sit on. Okay, I'm sorry, Ben. But here's the facts. any one of these kids that is graduating high school, like I'm sure he played baseball or some shit. Any one of the kids who's doing something similar to what he did in high school, they are in way better shape. It's not even funny. Like exercise science has gone so much further, and Ben is just a dumbass.
We used to have to climb ropes all the way up to the ceiling of the gym all the time. So,
also, it wasn't the ceiling, it was the raft. It was a 20-foot rope.
gym teachers, those of you who chose to do it as a calling, and those of you who've been forced into it as a calling, I salute you.
Choiced and forced into it. You don't really get forced into being a gym teacher, at least not from my understanding. It's still a choice. Also, I have a friend who went to be a gym teacher. There's still a shit ton of work to do with that. Like, oh my God, it's not just, well, I want to go to the gym, and now I'm a gym teacher, and I got to wear sweatpants all day. No, there's a lot that goes into it. It still requires a lot of schooling.
So here we are. We're in your living room. I'm on a laptop. You're on a couch, because 2020 is a heck of a year.
You're on a couch because you're lazy, and I'm on a laptop because I'm cool.
I know I'm not supposed to say this, but you're not
Then don't say it.
missing out on that much, because honestly, nobody, and by nobody I mean nobody, remembers anything about their high school graduation.
That's factually incorrect, because I remember my high school graduation and that day and night pretty fucking well, Ben Sass. So by saying nobody and me providing one counterexample automatically disproves your point. No, but seriously, there's a lot of people who remember the high school graduation, because like I said, it is a big deal for some people. You know, some people just don't care, and that's fine. But you know, other people care. Like, it's a time when you're parting ways with a lot of the friends you've had for a few years, and that's important. It's important to recognize that, you know, that your friendships were there for a meaningful time in your life, and even if it's not something that lasts forever, that doesn't mean that it was a meaningless friendship. You grow from everyone and everything. Hell, one of my best friends I met in high school, you know, like, regardless, your high school graduation is not a meaningless time. And just because just because Ben Sass probably went and binge drink his way through high school to forget it all doesn't really mean shit.
Graduation. In fact, a lot of us spend a lot of our lives trying to forget as much about high school as we possibly can.
That's false. There's actually a lot of people who don't try and forget about high school. Like, a lot of people look at high school and say, well, I wish I could redo it knowing what I know now. And I mean, because you change a lot as a person. But, like, no, that's no.
You know what I mean. You remember sophomore year. You don't want those.
Oh, yeah, because something shitty happens to everyone in sophomore year. Ben, I'm sorry, something happened to you in sophomore year. You probably need to go to counseling.
Memories to be defining for you. And in fact, there are a whole bunch of people who make a whole bunch of money by just trying to help other people forget high school.
So at first I thought he was going to go one direction with this, but
They're called psychologists.
see, I thought he was originally going to talk about, like, oh, it's called Anheuser-Busch. But, like, you don't go to see a psychiatrist to forget high school. You go to a psychiatrist to work through traumatic experiences. And for some people, yeah, that's high school. But for other people, it could be any number of things. It could be related to work. It could be related to family life. It could be, you know, losing a loved one. It could be anything like that. There's a ton of different reasons to go see a psychiatrist. Not just for the reasons that Ben Sass went, because he decided, oh, high school fucked that up and I remember it.
In fact,
also, I have this, like, huge feeling that, like, oh, you don't want to be shaped by the events in your high school. It's like, Ben Sass was totally fucking bullied in school. Not saying that's a good thing, but, like, come on. There's no way that he wasn't and is making this shit. Or is doing this.
In fact, 95% of all gainfully employed psychologists, and I'm serious, there are dozens of them that are gainfully.
Ha! There's dozens of gainfully employed, like... No, there is thousands of gainfully employed psychiatrists. Psychiatry is actually a very, very reputable profession, and I honestly applaud anyone who go into it, because it's a lot of schooling. It's a lot of schooling. It's at least 4 years of undergraduate, another 2 years of graduate school, plus you have to get clinical hours, plus on top of that you have to do understudies in actual offices, and then there's also, how long are you till actually working in a meaningful practice where you get to pick, where you, I have to say you got to pick your own patients, but where you actually get to specialize and all that stuff. There's so much work that goes into it. Like, people who I know who've gone to psychiatry or even just therapy, like, I see a therapist. Like, therapists that I know, they've gone through 10 years of school. It's insane. It's not just, oh, well, yeah, you get dozens of games. Like, no, therapists are, like, there's actually a reason for them, and they do make good money.
Gainfully employed. Their job is really just to help people forget high school.
No, it's not. It's to help people through their problems. It's to help people deal with traumatic experiences and their process it mentally and move on to become better people. And hopefully gain some skills that they can learn to better process things down the road.
The other 5%, they just research hamsters who got lost in mazes.
Yeah, that's not what they do at all. Also, I'm sorry, Ben, but if you're really going through and saying, well, psychiatrists are 3,000 hamsters and mazes, then you're fucking throwing out so much advancement. Like, you're throwing, there's so much shit I can go into that's like, oh yeah, this is a meaningful contribution. This is a meaningful contribution. This is a meaningful contribution. And this is what I fucking hate about people like Ben Sass, is they look at any of this, like, they call it pseudoscience because they don't actually see it as a hard science. They see it as like, oh yeah, well, let's just talk about our feelings. And they take all this shit and they just dismiss it right away. They say it's fucking worthless. And it's not. It's absolutely not. They just... Sorry.
Which, come to think of it, is a lot like high school, and that's why we want to forget it. Those hamsters also need their own psychologist now. Here's what
I'm pausing this like every 3 seconds just because he keeps saying stupid shit. He just can't stop. Every time he opens his mouth, it's literally stupid shit coming out.
I'm trying to say. There will always be money to be made in psychology.
Yeah, there will. Psychology is a hugely profitable profession. Like, hugely profitable. Like, not to say that you're going to be living in mansions or anything, because, obviously you do have debts and everything to pay, but you can be comfortable. You can very easily become comfortable, depending on the field of study you go into, depending on where you work, if you're a research psychiatrist or therapist, anything like that. Like, there is money to be made, especially if you're good and especially if you're reputable. Like, oh my God, yes, there absolutely is. And we need more. Like, honestly, we don't have enough. We don't have enough people who work in mental health and specialize in mental health. Because people like fucking Ben Sass here treat it like, oh, it's just another fucking joke. Well, fuck you, Ben Sass.
No, that's a joke. Do not, if you're headed to college, do not major in psychology.
Please do. We need more. And if you're actually taking his words at face value, like, okay, he has 2 PhDs from Yale and Harvard. 2 PhDs. He should be smarter than this shit. Either that or it's, he just paid him off. But I don't know. But no, fucking 2 PhDs, he should be way smarter than this shit.
That part's not a joke. But
that's not a joke, guys. Psychiatry and psychology just isn't serious.
I was saying, nobody remembers their high school graduation.
Again, false.
Except for you guys. You guys are going to be the first generation in human history to actually have your high school graduation seared into your memories.
Unless he's talking about like the convention speeches and all that kind of stuff. And in that point in time, that's true, because I don't remember everything that was said. But you still remember the general events around it, the general mood and motif, and that kind of stuff. Like, you don't forget that stuff.
You meet your class reunion in 25 or 30 years. I mean, people 30 years out of high school are really old.
Yeah, look at you. You're fucking 30 years out of high school, and you look like shit.
By the way, I graduated high school 30 years ago this month, so thanks for rubbing it in.
Oh, thanks for rubbing it in. You reminded me of my... They didn't fucking rub shit into you. They're graduating high school. The only people rubbing it in are you. Jesus, Ben, you have to make all this shit about yourself.
You're going to say stuff at your high school reunion service ceremonies. Remember that?
Service, like a reunion service? Is his like high school reunions like all go to church? Like, are they like, all right, well, 7 o'clock, we're going to go to church. 8 o'clock, we're going to go and have dinner afterwards. And by 9 o'clock, we're all going to watch Jeopardy. And in bed by 9:30.
Time that China started a big global pandemic.
Yeah, God, you're right. China started it. Oh my God, China so fucking started this shit. It's all a Chinese hoax. That's all it is.
pandemic.
And by the way, it's not like we didn't underreact or we haven't refused to test people and we're not doing anything and not saying anything. You know, no. It's all China. It's all China.
That created the worst public health crisis in over a century and brought the economy to its knees. And we had to stay at home and everybody was hoarding toilet
Also, this isn't what brought the economy to its knees. It's capitalism.
paper. And we all watched this documentary about some weirdo dude who raised tigers. Yeah, it'll be pretty hard to forget that. So you guys have this silver lining. You're going to remember your high school graduation. Nobody else has ever remembered their high school
I mean, I'll be honest. It will be pretty hard to forget Joe Exotic Tiger King.
graduation. You're
And that bitch Carol Baskins.
going to remember it. You're graduating in your living room, and you're having a senator come and talk to you about some dude named Joe Exotic. That's probably the least weird thing that happened this last month, because we haven't even started talking about murder hornets yet. That's right, murder hornets. Now,
So, you don't need to talk about that here.
I know what you're thinking. It's not the murder hornet's fault. If an insect grows up being called a murder hornet, you can't be surprised when they actually start ripping the heads off of honeybees. I get it. That's
What are you talking about? Is this some sort of like metaphor for bullying? Is that what this is? Is this some sort of fucking metaphor for, oh, you can't be surprised when, like, what are you fucking talking about? Jesus.
a pretty good point. We all sort of do grow into our names. And by the way, that's why everybody named Jeremy is the worst.
Okay. These broad blanket statement name, like, oh, this person named this is the worst. Like, I know we have Karen, and I fucking love the Karen meme because it's a mindset. It's not, oh, well, you're named Jeremy, so you're a fucking dick. Like, that's what basically he's saying. He's trying to be funny about this, and it doesn't work. He's not. I mean, looking, yeah, but he's not actually funny.
Sorry, Jeremy. Not my fault. Blame your mom and dad.
Yeah, blame your parents. They named you. Not me. I'm only mean to you online.
Anyway, the murder hornet.
Also, I'm fucking 30 years older than you and making fun of you. Yeah.
They're in Washington State and they're really bad. But the murder hornets, they aren't even half as bad as the black hole, in case you haven't noticed, or if you haven't been reading, and you should be because you got time on your hands.
You have time on your hands because you're not doing anything else because you're doing work, you're studying from home, and oh, you're sleeping in till fuck knows how long. Like, does he just think kids right now aren't doing shit and they're just sleeping in for fucking hours on end? Like, oh my god.
Scientists just discovered a black hole that's 4 times the size of our sun, and it's apparently in a system that's visible to the naked eye.
Visible to the naked eye means you can see it with your eyeball, not that you can see it clearly with your eyeball. It's not like literally visible to the naked eye when scientists are talking this. That means that you can pick it out in, like, if you were to go out in a clear night and you see a star, right? Say that star is 100,000 light years away. That's visible to the naked eye. It's not, oh my god, it's right fucking here. No, it's visible. That's what visible to the naked eye. And just because it's in a system that's visible to the naked eye doesn't mean it's threatening us, because you have to consider how many light years away is that. Like, all this fucking is reactionary bullshit. This is just, oh my god, this is the black hole that's gonna come meet us. Like, that's all it's fine.
Scientists are now going to classify it as a major, major bummer.
No, they're not. They're classifying it as just a really big black hole that they're going to study.
Why am I giving?
Also, it's not. Also, it's likely not actually 4 times the size of our sun. It's probably that's probably the event horizon is 4 times the size of our sun. Again, completely different.
You all this bad news? Well, between the pandemic and the murder hornets, and the fact that the Tiger King lady definitely killed her husband, and the black hole, that shouldn't be between, it should be among. But among all those things, you're stuck at home for graduation, and that's really not even a top 100 problem.
I'm sorry, this really big problem in your personal life just isn't that big of a deal, so would you kindly fuck off? Literally, that's what he's saying. He's literally just trying to say, oh yeah, well your problems don't mean shit to me because I have real problems. Like, I'm sorry, something bad to someone doesn't stop being bad just because you diminish it. Like, this is kind of a big deal to some people. They don't like. A lot of people are like trying to, spread their graduation shit online and whatever. But like, that's kind of rude to do too because a lot of these kids were looking forward to going out and having graduation parties and seeing all their friends and their family and being able to say goodbye and farewell. Like, I remember my graduation party. I had a ton of fun at it. Like there was a decent number of people, yeah, but it was just a good time to see people and have people over and talk to friends that I probably weren't gonna see, wasn't gonna see for a while. And it like that's what these kids are missing out on. They're missing out on a very on a very realistic part of life. And just to be dismissive and say, well, yeah, this problem is a big problem for you, but it's really not a big problem in the long run of things. So you should just shut the fuck up. Like, oh no, fuck you, fuck off. These kids totally get to complain about this shit.
But I get it. This isn't the way you wanted today to go down. And, all joking aside, you are graduating in the midst of two crises. We've got a public health crisis, which is real.
It's one crisis, not two. Just because there's an economic crisis going on and a public health crisis doesn't mean it's two separate crises. Unless he's admitting capitalism is bad, in which case, yeah. However, the economic issues stem because of COVID-19. And there's a whole lot of shit to get into with that. But basically the idea boils down to, because there is economic issues with COVID, because we refuse to fucking pay people and we refuse to actually help the poor people, then, and instead just send all our money to billionaires. The economy is failing because we refuse to help people who need it and who actually spend money to help our economy. The lower 90% of the spectrum who spends more money than most everyone else. Just saying.
And many of us know people who've been suffering because of it for the health reasons. And we've got an economic crisis.
Ben, you probably don't know shit about... You probably don't know anyone who's been suffering. Or if you do, it's like... Never mind. Forget I said it.
This on our hands, and all of us are going to be navigating that. You're entering the world. You're moving from basically the end of childhood to the start of adulthood at a time when the economy has some pretty ugly prognostication coming.
Again, it has this prognostication coming because of capitalism. And this is a video I'll probably do another point in time, but it's not because of anything that these kids did wrong. It's entirely because people were too greedy and wanted too much money from too many things. That's it. That's the reason here. Billionaires wanted more billions, and they decided to take it out of the backs of poor people. I'm sorry, but when you have someone like Jeff Bezos, whose employees are living off food stamps and live in Section 8 housing, and he is getting ready to be the world's first trillionaire in the next few years, yeah, not okay.
It's hit our state hard. It's probably hit your family. It's hit our whole country.
Oh, and the only reason it's hit Nebraska this hard is because fucking Pete Ricketts and people like fucking Pete Ricketts and Ben Sass don't fucking take this shit seriously and refuse to issue a stay-at-home order, refuse to fucking shut shit down, and refuse to be like, yeah, we fucking didn't do hardly any testing, like, early on at all. So we're just like, yeah, we're just gonna let it spread around, whatever, not a big deal. Like, no. This entire fucking thing is on you and your fucking crony ass bitches.
And nobody knows exactly how we're gonna beat this thing, but
actually not true. Scientists know that, and scientists have been going through and saying how we beat this thing is by doing things like social distancing, wearing masks, being smart, having more testing. Like, you beat this thing by preventing its spread. That's what it is. That's how you do it. If a virus doesn't spread, it's not as bad. And that's the whole point of social distancing, of staying at home, of working from home, of not doing a ton of different shit. It's trying to beat the virus. It's trying to beat the virus by not letting it spread. And, by extension, not getting as many people sick and not overflowing our system and not becoming so critical mass that things like fucking meat packaging plants can't operate because 60% of their staff is sick. Oh, and being transparent about our numbers.
You know what? We're Americans, we're Nebraskans, we've got grit, and we're gonna beat this thing. We will bring the...
We don't know how we're doing it, but we're gonna beat it. You know why? Because we got G-R-I-T, grit, grit, grit. No, you can't fucking grit your teeth through a pandemic. You have to fucking listen to scientists. You have to listen to experts. Much unlike what this fuckface has done. You know, just dismiss them. That's fine. Whatever.
The economy back. We are going to beat the virus. We've got 5 different American pharmaceutical companies doing amazing research to...
Yeah, they're doing research, but like, there's a lot of question on the motives and the profit behind those things, and this is why we need to empower the people like the CDC with more budget and give them more money to allow them to do their own independent research, so it's not driven by profits and it's driven by, you know, taxpayers.
Develop a vaccine. We're going to have a serious reckoning with the thugs in China who let...
The thugs in China. He's literally talking about the fucking Chinese government. They're thugs. Okay, so full disclosure, honestly, China probably lied about this a little bit. I'm not saying that they were like, oh, well, we're not telling you, like, they're probably not going off too far and like doing a ton of shit with this, but did they probably bury some of the numbers? Yeah, I could see that. Did they go through and, you know, not properly report things or hide things? Yeah, they do that to make themselves look good. However, that doesn't mean it's entirely on them. That doesn't mean that they didn't respond fast enough. That doesn't mean, just because there's questions as to the actual size of the number of infected in China, doesn't mean that they weren't doing anything. There's no correlation there. You know, it's just like Trump not wanting to test people, because if you test someone and it comes back positive, that's another case you have to add. He's literally said, "Oh well, you know, if we don't test cases, if we don't test people, we don't have cases." Like, that's fucking that's it's the exact same thing. But he, you know, Ben Coxleave over here is like, "Oh, that's a great thing to do."
Let this mess spiral out of control by lying about it. Your generation is going to have a big calling.
We say this to every generation, and while yes, I mean, the next generation has to step into the shoes of the ones that came before them. However, it's really like, is not so unsurmountable, and that's what he's trying to get at here. And it's oh my god, never mind.
You're gonna have to deal with the consequences of all this.
Yeah, you got to pick up our mess because we refuse to do anything about it. Actually, you know what? Let's start picking up that mess now and getting this fuckface out of office.
And you're
actually okay. No, that goes on another point. So Ben Sass has 2 PhDs and is a U.S. senator. I'm issuing this challenge right now. I will debate him. I don't have a PhD. I'm a small YouTuber with like 10 subscribers, 12 subscribers. And I would throw him so hard onto the floor, he would never come back out of his home to ever debate or talk to anyone ever again. I would mop his ass in a debate so hard it's not even funny. Because literally all he has is the fucking grift. That's what he has. He's a fucking grifter. Ben Sass is a fucking grifter. Anything that he says, you can't be trusted. You know, he to him it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He's in this for the money. Like, yeah, he's a U.S. senator, but guess what? He doesn't fucking care about people. No, absolutely not. If he did, there's no way he'd be saying half the shit he's saying, doing half the shit he's doing. Like, fuck him. No, fuck you. I'm sorry. I would like, and this is a very serious offer, Ben. If you're watching, or anyone you know watches this and tells you about it, let's fucking go toe to toe. You pick the time, you pick the topics. I'll fucking mop the floor with you on any of them. I don't fucking give a shit.
You're entering adulthood during an incredibly disruptive time. But you know what that means? It means the fact that you're going to need grit and determination and resilience isn't just euphemism. It isn't just rhetoric. It's reality. And here's the good news. You all have the potential to have grit and resilience and determination and to get through this. That's actually what your late night study sessions and your early morning practices gave you. That's what...
Yeah, I know you've been dealing with this for the past few months, just like most of America has. But we think you have the potential to deal with this. You know, and that's the whole point of early morning practices and late night study sessions, is to give you the potential to deal with this. Not because we're having early morning practices because we actually need to prioritize time for your schoolwork, and that's really the best time you can do it. Or, we have to give you absorbent amount of homework so that you can chew up all your free time and you actually can't do things like hold down a job or have fun with your friends. No, I mean, that's why all this exists.
What they were about. That's what your parents and teachers tried to instill in you, and that's what makes our state great, and that's what's going to pull us through this.
Yes, parents and teachers do try to instill a sense of responsibility and purpose into the students, and I absolutely agree, and I 100% agree with that. But there's a lot of shit in Nebraska that really needs some work done. Granted, this is where I've lived my whole life. I can't say I wouldn't trade it for the world, but it's not bad. There's a lot of good things about living here. There's some not so good things about living here, but I think that's going to be anywhere. But grit and resilience isn't what makes the state great.
This thing, you're going to pull us through this thing. You're commencing today.
You're going to pull us through this. I don't know what I'm doing, even though I'm almost 50 years old and a U.S. Senator with 2 PhDs. You're going to be the one to tell me what to do.
Okay, what does commencement mean? It's the end of your high school, but we call it commencement, which means
yes.
Beginning. Why?
The incredibly milquetoast take on what commencement actually means.
Because it's the beginning of the set of callings you have from here. You're going to do it. You're going to get it done. We're going to be proud of you again, and we're proud of you today. Your families and your communities are proud of you. I'm proud of you, but you don't really know me.
God, Ben, don't fucking ever be proud of anyone ever again. No one cares if you're proud of them.
The important thing is your families and your communities are proud of you. Get her done.
So I don't disagree that, their families and their community and everything is proud of them. Like, graduating high school is a big thing. But that little clip at the end, that little get her done, that's fucking copywritten. I really, really hope Larry the Cable Guy fucking sues the shit out of Ben Sass for doing that. Like, just because you're a Nebraskan doesn't mean shit. Like, doesn't mean fucking shit. So, yeah. Anyway, that what happened last night. It was absolutely ridiculous. I don't know if it's hitting the rounds in the news or anything, but I woke up and my girlfriend was like, you gotta fucking watch this, and it was just, I told her, I said, I gotta make a video about this tonight. There's no way. This is fucking ridiculous. Like, there's no way that what I just watched was real. Like, that's insane. But it was. Oh my god. I don't know how. So, yeah. What do you think? Please, feel free to leave a comment. Let me know what you're thinking. If you like the video, subscribe. I don't care. I'm just doing this for fun. But, I really do appreciate you spending time and people coming out and watching. I hope this has been enlightening and entertaining. I want to do more stuff like this in the future. So, yeah. All right. Well, everyone have a great evening. Bye.